Let's get started. Welcome, everyone. Today is the 25th February, 2026. Thank you, Steve Ray, for correcting me on that. Um, the Today we're going to be doing a retrospective of 20 years of the Ontology Summit. And I am the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Ontolog Forum and of this summit. And I would like to give a few introductory kind of things, few statistics and stuff about the summit over the years. And we're going to have a panel of very distinguished veterans of the summit who are going to give their uh, views of what has taken place. And I would also like to move to the audience, to our participants, and get some experiences of yours as well. So, of course, we had 20 annual summits, roughly 4 or so, sometimes less tracks in each one. So, about 80 tracks, something like 300 invited speakers, panelists. Uh, as you might imagine, many of them also spoke more than once. But so it's quite a large variety of speakers that we've had. And there have been thousands of documents and videos that have been produced, as well as numerous journal publications. And all of these are continuing to be popular. So here are a few features of the summit, some of which are maybe good, some not so good. We have a complete history of all the activities in our wiki, and as well as all these videos that are stored in the repository. So the advantage of this is that it's a really rich source of materials. The disadvantage is that, well, as you might imagine, there's a lot that's incomplete or misleading, since pretty much everything was saved. And while you could edit, generally they were not. Um, and another disadvantage is that they're heavily used by web crawlers and bots. It's hard to get a good handle on this, but I would say more than half of all the bandwidth is taken up by these web crawlers, bots, possibly even all these LLMs. And that disadvantage of that is that it starts to get a little slow to get to our resources. This session is being live streamed on YouTube. It's also being recorded, and all of this is publicly available. This has evolved over time. Originally, we did not have that capability. So the advantage is then that it's not necessary to attend the session. Well, the disadvantage is that it's not necessary to attend the session. So you have fewer participants who actually participate in current sessions compared to past sessions. Maybe it's good, maybe not, but I think the sessions are still very active and lively and popular. Although it sometimes gives the illusion that the summit isn't as popular as it used to be. Sessions now have just one or two speakers, mostly rather than a large panel as they were in the past. The advantage is that one person can give greater depth and greater focus on a topic. Well, the disadvantage is that coverage gets a little bit, well, less coverage. I mean, more speakers, more people involved can have more interaction. And so perhaps it's not so much the case now. But I think the greater depth kind of outweighs that. We have shorter sessions now, generally only an hour, not hour and a half to 2 hours as they were earlier on. And but we have more sessions. In the past, there were more focused objectives. It's kind of a real point that was to be achieved at each summit, although there are exceptions. But for the most part, the objectives are not nearly as focused now. So a little broader than they used to be. And the communique has changed too. Past communiques were quite short, just to the point. And it could be, I guess, originally only a page or so. Today, they're longer and more detailed, published in peer-reviewed journals, and in some cases, even a whole journal issue devoted to the communique and related papers. Another thing, well, of course, yeah, I guess the disadvantage of that is that it's a lot more work to get all of this out. The another thing that some of the longer term veterans might remember is that we used to collect endorsements, and we don't do that anymore. So it's an interesting question. Should we? But do they matter? Did the endorsements that we collected in the past actually make a difference? It'd be interesting to speculate about that. An interesting thing about introducing the YouTube channel is that we now have two communities. And I gather they're pretty much mostly disjoint. The forum has on the order of 1,400 members, mostly in the forum mailing list, but there are a couple of other mailing lists. Members have namesake pages on the wiki, so you can find out about the members. Issues are raised and discussed at the forum, often related to the summit, but not necessarily. And the Board of Trustees enforces the policies and organizes the summits and other series. The YouTube channel has more subscribers, 1,785 at the last time I checked, which was this morning. But the members don't seem to have an equivalent to a namesake page. Perhaps I'm wrong about this, but it's hard to see how it has the same sense of community as in the forum. They do have comments, but they're on the videos. So they're directly related to the videos, and there might be some discussion, but you don't see independent discussions. And of course, there's no management. The Board of Trustees doesn't really manage that channel. So anyway, it's interesting to have these new communities that have emerged in the last decade. How popular are all of our summits? If you just look at the total views for all of the videos and documents that we have in the repository, it's something like 50,000. And you can see over time that it has grown. It's actually kind of exponentially increasing. And you can see that little kind of going up exponentially. Maybe that's just because there are more videos. But there's also a curious little bump there. You might wonder what that is. Well, it was in the context summit. There was something like 12,000 views all in one day, and 22,000 views over a 4-day period, which is quite remarkable. But It's hard to say what that was and why that happened. Seemed curious that there was, that this particular summit went viral very briefly and then wasn't so viral anymore. But which summit really was most popular and the one that was kind of consistently had the largest number of views over time? So you might say, which one was that? Was it the one on AI? Well, no. Oh, but yeah, this is 12,000 views on the 13th of July. And then 22,000 views that week. Anyway, it was a knowledge graph in 2020. That summit. Notice how it just consistently goes up and still going up. So hard to know what is going to be popular and what won't be. Other summits have been almost as popular, and I'm not saying this is dramatically more popular. It's just that it's more consistently popular and continues to be popular.